In this video, we will implement another iRules script based on the subnet or IP address of the client. This will involve some new events and conditions to accomplish this. And here is an overview of what we'll be setting up. So when the client has this IP address assigned and they access any of our sites, we want to redirect them to web server 1. But a client using any other IP subnet or address, we want to redirect them to web server 2. So this is what we want to set up in this new script. And here is the script that we will be applying. So let's talk about this further. Now, as a recap in this script, if the client's IP address is 10.67.78.3, they should be redirected to server pool W1, and all other clients should be redirected to server 2, our web server 2. So within our code here, the required event to look at for the client's IP address is with the client accepted event, which is basically a client state that will contain information about the client, their IP address details. So in that event, the query command would be IP remote address. And that means that if the client's remote address is this particular IP, it will match this if statement. So you will see that the operation used is equal and not contains like our other script. This means that it must be an exact match and not a partial match, which is what the contains operation does. For example, if this was contains, then this means it could match a client like 10.67.78.33 or 31 or 35 and so on. So you want to keep that in mind of how you use your operations. So once more, this code that we are using here can be referenced from the Dev Central page. Now, once again, we're using something new, using new events and new conditions or query codes. So let's go back to events. Okay. And for client accepted, I think that's here under IP group. There it is. So that's the group of basically the common kind of events. There's client accepted. And here we can look at the details and read what this particular event provides. So that's very useful. An example of how it can be used and related query events that I can use with this. And one of them that you will see will be IP remote address, which returns the IP address of the host on the far end of the connection. So that can provide information that we want our big IP to look at, and then us specifying a particular action. So once again, use the Dev Central page as a resource to help you with your coding. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy the code of the event group. It's just this portion right here. Okay, and let's create a new iRules script. Let's paste our code. And then we'll copy and paste the name of our IP subnet iRules script. And then finish. And finally, let's apply this iRules script to our custom virtual server. Okay, let's go to manage. Let's remove this older script and apply our new script. And then finish. For testing, let's go to the client that is using that remote IP address, and that will be my Mac. And we will run a web script to that virtual server for 100 web connections. Let's start now. Okay, and you can see within the results, we are definitely being redirected to web server 1. Okay, so this completed. And there you will see that we are being redirected to web server 1 based on our code. So let's go ahead and minimize my Mac now. From another client, like our computer here, if we access the same site, I'm just going to stop this, oops. I'm gonna type in w1 routhub.local. Okay, great. You will see that we are redirected to web server 2 instead based on the else statement that we set up. So let's go back to our big IP and let's view the statistics of our server pools. And then we'll select pools in this list here. Okay, and there you will see 100 web connections to web server 1, which came from my Mac system, which is using the IP of 10.67.78.3. And we will see 4 web connections to web server 2, which came from a client using a different IP address. So that is how you can use iRules for redirecting clients based on the IP address or subnet of the client.